Chapter 14. Races East and West. In this, the third year of the war, fighting is intensifying on both fronts. In the Western theater, Grant relentlessly pursues Vicksburg, knowing, with Northern morale falling, he cannot fail. In the Eastern theater, Lee seizes on his masterful victory at Chancellorsville to bring the fighting into Maryland and Pennsylvania, hoping to convince Europe that the Confederacy is deserving of recognition and their support. May 14, 1863.
If Vicksburg is considered an immovable object, then General Grant's Army of the Tennessee has to be considered an irresistible force. Today, it demonstrated more of that quality as it easily captured the key transportation center of Jackson, Mississippi, thereby cutting Vicksburg off from the Confederacy and protecting its flank from attack as it turns its weaponry on the rebel citadel. In a demonstration of what General Grant refers to as total war, Federal troops entered Jackson and burned part of the town and cut the railroad connections with Vicksburg. General Sherman ordered the destruction of all facilities that could benefit the war effort.
We can take all the northern ports of the Confederacy, and they can defy us from Vicksburg. It means hog and hominy without limit, fresh troops from all the states of the far south, and a cotton country where they can raise the staple without interference. I am acquainted with that region and know what I am talking about. And, as valuable as New Orleans will be to us, Vicksburg will be more so.
May 15, 1863.
General Lee traveled to Richmond to meet with President Davis and the Confederate cabinet today to discuss strategy for the coming months. Though there are some reasons for optimism, overall the future of the Confederacy, its ability to separate from the United States and be recognized globally as an independent sovereign nation, may come down to events both on the battlefield and in Europe that occur this summer. If the Confederacy is to gain Europe's recognition, it must do so soon. Even with the impressive victory at Chancellorsville, the Army of Northern Virginia lost a larger percentage of its available force than did the Union. The Conscription Act has helped, but the continued control exerted by Confederate states over how many men they contribute to the National Army has made it increasingly difficult for President Davis to replenish General Lee's army. Despite successes on the battlefield, the Southern economy has suffered badly over the past year. As states and the Confederacy have printed money to pay for the war effort and counter the economy's contraction, inflation has steadily worsened. Compounding the impact of inflation has been the prolonged drought in the South that has led to severe food shortages. The recent bread riots in Richmond gave witness to this crisis. The food shortages that have plagued the civilian economy of the South have also hit the armies in the field. Moreover, the vast majority of the fighting in the Eastern Theater has taken place in Northern Virginia. The once bountiful and lush landscape is now barren. Where there were once trees, there are now stumps. Where there were once fields, there are now mud and shallow graves. Lee used to supplement his soldiers' and horses' diet with local harvests. There are no more to be had.
May 22, 1863.
After 3 weeks on the move and 2 unsuccessful assaults to take the city by force, General Grant's army has set in for a siege on Vicksburg. General Grant wanted to end it quickly and continue to maneuver against other enemies, but Vicksburg has defied every attack. With artillery shells raining down on it from all sides, the only hope for the citizens of Vicksburg and the rebel garrison inside is General Joseph Johnston's army now hovering near Jackson, several dozen miles to the east.
June 21, 1863.
Following his plan to invade the North, an infantry division of General Lee's Army of Northern Virginia arrived in Hagerstown, Maryland. The Washington Hotel is crowded with officers who pay $4 in Confederate money for a night's stay. Some troops have gone into Pennsylvania to bring back any Negroes they can find, who, they allege, ran away from their masters in Virginia.
June 22nd, 1863.
Inside Vicksburg, citizens who remain and Confederate soldiers defending the city are coping as best as possible. General Grant's army has been relentless in keeping the pressure on Vicksburg, ever extending their lines and tightening the noose around the beleaguered city to keep the Confederate from getting supplies of food or ordnance. Union soldiers have been digging various approach trenches toward Confederate lines, forcing rebels to stay on the alert. Union artillery from both land and river incessantly lob shells into the city. To escape the danger, residents have cut caves into the hillsides, some actually taking up residence there and foregoing their homes. During lulls in the artillery barrage, some will emerge from the caves and cellars to carry on seemingly normal lives. But at the first sound of gunfire, they go scurrying for cover, and Vicksburg once more resembles a ghost town.
June 28, 1863.
Confederate forces under General Lee continue to advance into Maryland and Pennsylvania, much to the fear and consternation of Northern citizens. Local newspapers report that Union General Joseph Hooker was replaced with General George Meade as commander of the Army of the Potomac today. When General Lee was given the news, he said nothing, then kicked his horse Traveler to move forward, heading north.
July 1st, 1863.
This is Jackie Chase with the Union Army of the Tennessee. General Grant's army has Vicksburg surrounded by land, while Union warships under Admiral David Porter control the Mississippi River to the west. Between the two, they have bombarded the city essentially non-stop since the siege began in late May. As of today, Union approaches have reached the enemy's ditch at a number of places. Orders have been given by General Grant to make all preparations for assault on the 6th of July.
Vicksburg must not be lost without a desperate struggle. The interests and the honor of the Confederacy forbid it. The eyes and hopes of the whole Confederacy are upon you.
This is Danielle Burke with the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia as they move essentially without resistance into central Pennsylvania. General Lee has divided his army into 3 units, each going after an objective. One took Chambersburg, another went as far north as Harrisburg, and the third moved into Cashtown just west of Gettysburg. General Jubal Early moved through Gettysburg and demanded a ransom for the town, a pirate-like practice he had been performing as he traveled through towns, threatening to burn them down if they did not comply. They were given supplies from a train shipment that came through town. Apparently, the supplies were not enough, because a brigade was sent to ransack the town of Shoes.